Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LexDiscuss Cafe, where we dive into the minds of industry leaders and innovative thinkers in the legal domain. Today, we have a special guest joining us, Shiv Bhushan Upadhyay. He is a seasoned chartered accountant and a financial planning and analysis expert, currently making waves at Inventya Ltd. Let's welcome Shiv Bhushan Upadhyay to the show. One of the reasons that we invited you that you are a qualified CA from India, but right now you're working for a UK company. And this is something a lot of legal and financial professionals aspire. So tell us, how did you landed this gig?
Actually, the previous company was also a UK-based company. Before that, I was working as in a local consulting firm. It was in the traditional CA services like tax planning, the auditing, accounting services, balance sheet preparation. But my core interest was in financial analysis and planning part, and also I wanted to get some corporate experience also. So I just went on to LinkedIn and I found there was a job, financial consultant. I applied for it. There was an interview. I qualified, and fortunately, I got to work not only in the financial analyst part, but I worked with the other consulting teams also. So there was team like M&A team and the IPR management team. So I got to assist those teams also. I learned a lot from them, and of course there are other things also, like when you apply for a company which operates in outside India. The one thing they seek is that you know what you have written in your CV. It's not that you're just written out and you don't know the actual skills, right? For example, somebody would say that, okay, that I've done valuation, and they ask you to value a company in a test and you can't value that. They will test your actual skills. So that's the first thing. And secondly is that communication is also play a significant role in that. So first, I mean, I still remember that the first interview was just to test the communication, that if I'm able to communicate what I thinking, and if I'm able to understand them. So it was a 15 or 10-minute interaction. So when I just qualified that, then the technical round came. So these are the things that matter when you apply for the abroad jobs. There are two types of job. Yeah, first is remote basis, and second is they'll call you to work from the offices abroad. So for me, it was that time I didn't want to leave India. So it was good that I got the remote opportunity, and also they also wanted to diversify in Indian markets also, because most of the clients, they want to they what they asked was that we need some Indian companies to partner with, because we know to penetrate in the Indian market. So they are coming to Indian markets. So instead of calling the Indian employees, they are opening in offices in India now. So if you're planning to go for abroad, then the things will be different, I think, because in the remote work, possibly the company allows you to work remotely, because they in future they are planning to open offices in India. But if you think that you want to go for abroad, then the entire procedure will be different.
So that's very interesting. I think in a way, working remotely for an international company has dual benefits, right? आप pounds में कमा रहे हो and आप rupees में खर्च कर रहे हो, right?
Well, I mean, there are two parts in that. So they're very smart. They won't give you salary. Beyond the country standards. So if they clearly say that, okay, the salary will be competitive based on the industry standards. So if the industry standards in India that you should get only 80 lakh or 20 lakh per annum or 25 lakh per annum, you won't get more than that. Of course, if you're working as a external consultant, then you can negotiate, okay, that I want £1,000 per month, or 1,500 or £2,000 per month. So that's a different part.
Yeah, you brought in a very interesting topic, and that's what I wanted to also highlight, is that a lot of aspirants, they think that, just getting a job would solve the problem. But that usually doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Because even today, after COVID, so even if they're like hiring people from all across the globe, right?
Yeah.
Even if they have remote working, they want to make sure that you are actually resident in their country.
Yeah, right.
And if you can't prove on documents that you're not a resident, then they will give you a salary which is comparable to that country.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But this is an exception that you rightly pointed out, is if you are an outside consultant, right? Because and there, outside consultant, you can negotiate. Being outside the country, the company is operating in, you will have a slight disadvantage, but a lot of times you can your skill set to get a like comparable remuneration as to what an external consultant would be getting there.
Right. Agreed.
Right.
In fact, one thing I would also like to point out that sometimes, in India, we have a desire to, settle abroad. And there are some coaching institutes also, I won't take the names. They just, sell the courses that, okay, after doing the courses, you'll get the job, you'll land the job in US and, Canada on that kind of stuff. But the best part is that they show the expected salary, which you will receive. And I just, analyze the salary on PPP terms. So I would just like to say that don't, fall in that trap. One of the coaching institutions, I analyzed the salary which they claim that their, qualified candidates will get if they complete the course and land the job in the US. In Indian rupees, it will be, I think, 15 to 20 lakhs. And I think if you work for, some good company in India like before, you'll get this salary in 3 to 4 years. And in fact, if you compare the, cost of living in India and that in US, you'll realize that 20 lakh per annum is nothing. You at least need, I think, 1 crore, 1.2 crores or above to maintain a decent standard of living in the US. Because I have a sheet also which I just calculated. I mean, what should I demand if I want to settle in abroad? So in India, the culture of ESOP is not that popular because we want salaries in cash. But in US, the 30% or 40% salary they offer in ESOP, right? 10% is in the one-time bonus. So if you're getting a salary of 1.2 crores, right? So 30%, like I think 36 lakh will be in the ESOP, and I think 10%, 10 lakhs around, it will be in the first time bonus. So 46 lakhs, just remove it because that won't be in cash. In fact, that 10 lakh, you can spread it across the period of employment. So the remaining 70 to 60 lakhs, if you divide it with the cost of living is 3.69 times that of India based on the CIA, the inflation index. And number you get is, I think, 24 lakh. So of course, if you adjust this number 24 lakh for other things like the quality of life and the clean environment. So let's say you add 6 lakh for quality of life and there's no pollution, clean environment, then the CTC will increase to 30 or 32 lakh. So if you're getting a salary of 30 to 32 lakh in India, then the comparable salary in US should be 1.2 crores. So that way one should decide if he or she wants to settle in abroad.
Wow, this really, really interesting topic that you brought in. And this is something I think a lot of people struggle with because, I think moving abroad has that social validation factor. Like, unka ladka to US mein bachta hua.
Yeah.
Just because you are working in US, it doesn't mean that you are doing really well.
Right. I mean, those, institutions that claim for, getting you settled in US, they don't promise that you'll get the job. Yeah, they just refer you the CV. And if they have 30 students or 40 students batch, it's not possible that all those will be placed. And those who are placed, I mean, it's not guaranteed that they'll get the, good CTC, which is enough for them to support their living in the US.
Yeah, that's really important. And how much this coaching institution or so-called coaching institution, how much do they typically charge?
So let's just take one example, CFA course.
Okay.
So in general, if you don't take any coaching, so CFA would cost you around, I think, 2.5 lakh for all 3 levels. But these coaching institutions will take, I think, 1 lakh for their fees. So the cost went up to, I think, 3.5 lakh or 3.6 lakh if you include taxes and all that.
Right. So they are charging like 1 lakh extra, right? So obviously, and see, this is for financial expert guys, right? And there was a Shah Rukh Khan's movie, Donkey, right? Where I have known so many people, and it surprises me. Like, Khet Khalihan Girvi Rakhe, they have gotten 10 lakh rupees, and there's a way they go, right?
Right.
The moral of the story is don't fall in that trap that outside country, Canada, US, mein koi problem nahi hogi, right? Be cognizant of the fact that you are going to be the same, right? Quality of life would be, but it's not a be all and end all, right?
Right.
The point that you brought in about the purchasing power parity, I think that's a very interesting topic. We'll work together to kind of make it public, right? And we'll put a link in the description so that everybody can use that tool and figure out, like, if they're getting a salary in the US, what will be the comparable salary in India?
Yeah.
And do that. Very interesting point you mentioned there. I also want to go back to one topic that you mentioned about your selection process in your current employer, right? So you spoke about that even before technical interview, they had a communication interview.
Yeah.
Without being disrespectful in any way, like, I have experienced that I know some of the most amazing lawyers and I know some of the most amazing CAs. Why do you feel that CAs usually are weaker when it comes to communication skills? Is my assessment true? And
Yeah, I would say,
is it a good thing? And why? How can you correct that essentially?
well, I would say you're absolutely true.
Right.
I felt that also while I was in the finals. The reason is that, just compare CA with, any traditional college-based course, let's say MBA. Any other, college-based course, you go to college, you have an environment, you can discuss with your peers, your, professors. You get good, response from them that how your communication skills are and if there's anything to be improved or not. But in CA, what happens is right from the foundation, which used to be called CPT in my time, so right from the foundation till your final exam, you don't have that kind of environment. You are into the books, you go to the coachings, and that only if you're taking the coachings. Like some people are, smart enough, they can just prepare by themselves, self-study, and they clear the exam. They got rank also. So I'm not talking about those people. So I'm talking about those who go to coachings, regular coachings. So in coachings, of course, you have friends, you make friends, peers, but that is not, kind of environment you discuss things like, you do in colleges, like in the classroom discussion. So this kind of things are the, कि यार मस्ती चल रही है यहाँ तो ठीक है तो होता क्या ना let me just give my example. So in my time, I used to wake up at I think 5 a.m. and the 6 a.m. was the accounts class. The accounts class used to get over at 10:30 and 11:30 was the call time for the office, the articleship. And I always used to get late. I used to get to the office I think 11:30 to 12 because I used to work out. And in the evening, I leave the office at 5:30 and at 5:30 the evening classes started. So I reached the class at 6 p.m., 30 minutes late. So this kind of schedule you have. So you don't get time to, improve your communication skills. But gratefully, Institute has, addressed this issue. It introduced some kind of soft skill training. So previously in my time, the training was orientation program. It's, I think, 10 days orientation program before the articleship. Two GMCs program, GMCs 1 and GMCs 2. So first GMCs was 18 days program before the articleship. And the second is after completing your CA, 18 days GMCs program. I think they've changed the name, but I think the purpose is same. So it gives you an environment which enhances your public speaking skills, communication skills, and public discussions, group discussions, etc. But I don't think that 18 days are enough to teach you these kind of skills because these skills needs practice, not bookish knowledge. Like the core skills are that you can learn from the books, and CA is basically focus on core skills. And today's time, if you don't have soft skills, then how do you communicate that you know the core skills? Because the market is more important. I mean, if you look at any business, doesn't matter how good your product is. If you're not able to market or you're not able to tell the people that how good your product is, then you won't be able to make a sale. You won't be able to make a living from that.
Absolutely, Shiv. Well said. So your observations are quite to the point. What I believe is that I know CA is tough. It is really tough. I think graduates also need to come out of the shell. It's just that doing just the CA would be enough. Because I think that's what the mentality of most of the people are. We will do just CA and we'll get a job.
Yeah.
Right now, there is no pressure on them. Okay, just doing CA won't be enough, which is the case with, I think, most of the law students I know and most of the MBA graduates I know. That brings me to a very interesting question. And it's a bit controversial as well. But I'll ask you this question. Which degree is better, CA or MBA?
First, I will give a diplomatic answer. Then I'll
You don't want a diplomatic. I mean, you know what is the diplomatic answer. Everybody knows what a diplomatic answer. I want a hardcore CA answer.
So, I mean, if I say CA, then it will be a biased answer.
No,
but yes,
that's your opinion.
No, in my opinion, both are good in their own domain. Because for CA, if you look at the syllabus, the purpose of doing the course is that you get financial expertise. And not only in, accounts or something, you get a comprehensive view of the financial world. You learn about accounting. You want to learn about reporting standards. You want to learn about financial laws. I mean, there are a lot of financial laws you study, like corporate laws, economic laws, FEMA, etc. And cost accounting, which you study in CMA. You also study those things in CA also. Financial analysis that you study in CFA, you also study those things in CA also. So from financial point of view, CA is, I think, it's the best. But from a comprehensive business point of view, I think there's no comparison for MBA. Because in MBA, you study a lot of things, right? Apart from finance, or supply chain management, operations management, etc. So if you analyze a business, I mean, if you study annual report, what a CA will look for, it will look for, financials like profit and loss statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, which is good. I mean, these are the basic things we start with. And how the company is performing, whether it is, generating sufficient profits, is there any fraud or not? To forecast his future, you need to also understand the supply chain concept, your operations concept, the industry analysis. These kind of things you learn in MBA. So both are good in their own domain.
So imagine you have a younger brother, right? Now he's asking you this question, ki bhaiya, I'll do CA, it will take me 5 years. And you'll have to do BCom. A lot of people do BCom along with it as well. So you'll have to probably do that as well. Right. So along it will take you 5 years, right? And you will spend 2.5 years in that, in the articleship as well, right? And there's no guarantee that you will be able to finish your CA in 5 years.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. That doesn't happen with everyone.
Exactly. I've known friends who have been trying for 10 years.
Exactly. And by no means they are not smart, right? By no means I would say that
Yeah,
they're smart, right? It's a tough course. Now, if I compare this with a normal degree, I do a normal BSc or BA or even BTech for that matter, right? Or BCom or BCA, right? If I'm in commerce graduate, then I work for a couple of years and then I prepare for a year or 2 years and do an MBA in a year or two. Which path would you advise it?
I'll advise him the other path, to graduate, then work in the industry and get the MBA. The
Right,
reason is simple because there's a certainty.
right.
I look at CA as a tunnel which has an entrance but doesn't have an exit. You have to take the exit.
Yeah,
So if you have the guts to do it, then only go for it. And in fact, recently Institute has made a lot of changes. I mean, in my times, if you qualify all the exams in first attempt, you could complete your CA in 4.5 years. But now it will take at least 5 years because they have increased the time limit for your first final attempt after completing the training. So previously it was that your first final attempt will be due after 2.5 years from the date of start of your articleship. But now it's 3 years. And it's only when you qualify all the exams in first attempt. Somebody would say that, okay, I'll have to give 5 years in one course. It's not a good deal. Of course, I mean, I also think from this point of view, there's a course you might have heard about, actuarial sciences. It's also a very tough course. Very tough course. I mean, I would say I've given the exams of it and I've seen that there are times they have declared zero result, zero passing rate. They didn't pass any candidate in their one of the exam called E35. It's about the general insurance concept, hardcore mathematics in that. I qualified 2 of the papers, CT1, which is the financial mathematics, CT2, which is financial analysis and reporting. So there were 2 papers. I joined the course out of my interest in finance and mathematical finance especially. But when I just, looked at the data from Glassdoor, I realized that there's not much difference. I mean, people say that actuals are earning crores, 2 crores, 3 crores. But when you look at the actual numbers, you find that, okay, 95% of the actuaries are as good as, chartered accountants. So 5% are earning exponential returns. And for that also you have to go to abroad. And there are chartered accountants who are also earning, supernormal returns. But of course, they're settling abroad. So why am I giving my 10 years or 7 years in a course like this? I left the course when I saw that data. So my decision was completely based on data. So I just recommend people to, decide your career based on data and not listening to someone. Because what happens is when somebody's teaching a course, somebody's giving a coaching of the course, they glorify it. Be it a CA course, if you join a CA coaching, instructors or faculty, they will glorify the course. If you join a CFA coaching or actual coaching, they just glorify the course. But you should, frame your opinion based on the actual data. We have internet today. We have, fast internet, 4G internet. You can just download the details, just analyze the data. If it is beneficial for you, if you're planning to go for a job after 2 years, then CA won't be a good idea for you. And if you can give 5 years, you're dedicated towards studies and you can just sit for the hours to study, then you can go for CA. But I'm seeing the changing trends also. I've seen the institute's data that the enrollments of CA has drastically, reduced. In my time, the enrollments were around 8 lakh in CPT, the foundation. And the passing rate, as you know, is less than 1%. I mean, if 10,000 people are entering the CPT, only I think 9 people are, clearing the finals. That's kind of passing rate they have. So if enrollments are decreasing, so there must be some reason behind that. So first reason, I would see the toughness of the course and the, length of the course has increased by the institute. Second, that today we have a lot of options, which we didn't have 10 years back. In my time, I didn't have any other option. So if I want to do MBA, I would like to do MBA from a, top tier institute.
Right.
And it requires a lot of financial support. And that time, it was not easy to avail the education loan also. So if, you're not able to pursue MBA from a top tier institute, then C is the best option because it's cost efficient, but of course it requires you to lot of hard work. In fact, in my CA also, I will just tell you that in GMCS, both the GMCS 1 and GMCS 2, some of the faculty members were from IIM. They were good, experienced person. They were, civil servants also, former civil servants. So one of them said, I think his name was Rajan Arora. he said that you guys are at par with the IM as far as the skills are concerned. Because the company they used to work in, he and his wife, they said that the CAs who used to audit us, they saved our companies, 20-30% cost just by implementing the, cost control in the internal control. So as far as the technical skills are concerned, there's no comparison of you guys. But as this kind of training can enhance, your marketing skills, how you market yourself, your communication skills, etc. So I would say that in technical skills, CS need not to worry. So in fact, one of the studies, there were some MBA graduates also. After CS, people pursue MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and other IIMs also. So people used to say that the 30% or 40% strength in the batch are from CA background, chartered accountants, and all of them are placed. I mean, if you say that out of 100, 90 people are placed, then all of the CA will be placed. The rest who are remaining will not be a CA. So that kind of skills you get while doing the CA. So as far as skills and technical expertise are concerned, CAs need not to worry about. They're highly skilled. It's just that you need to improve your communication skills, your soft skills also, which you get in, of course, if you do MBA from some tier 1 institute also. As I said, that time we didn't have choices. Right now we have choices. We have some online MBA courses, EMBA we call it. Some foreign and Indian universities have launched some online courses. So you can get these courses on affordable rates also, thanks to ICA.
I would put a caveat on that, right? These online courses or distance learning courses, be cognizant of the money that you are paying.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you why. See, again, their situation is more very akin to the situation you were talking about, the coaching institutions, which, tell you that if you do their coaching, you will get placed in the US.
Right.
First of all, as somebody who's running an edtech business, right, what I tell you, the value that you get from a degree are threefold, right? First is that how hard it is to get into that.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
MBA
right.
is valued, right? Second is how hard it is to pass that course, right? That's why CA is valued. And third is the what kind of a learning that you will get. But what I will say,
Right.
the learning component is more or less the same, right? Do you think that
Right.
being taught at Harvard, for instance, MBA may, like, nobody can argue that the Harvard is the best, right? The thing is, the learning that you get in Harvard or say top 25 institute, I would even extend this to say
Ivy League.
get in ISB, right? It won't be drastically dissimilar, but the placement that you will get in Harvard is
Yes.
going. So understand this. Okay, you are getting a brand name, right? Okay, you are getting a certificate from Harvard, but was it an online institution? The moment they understand that, okay, this is that. So if you compare it, your online, I see you have done a lot of online certifications, right? So
Right.
So is it from an IIM management Jammu where you pursued, or is it from Harvard? I think the only thing that as an employer I care about is that whether you have that skills, because I understand I'm not well aware of this, the
Exactly.
particular course you pursue, but most of these online courses, I know there's no bar to entry and the level is also easy to cross. As someone who sells these online certificates as a business, I'm telling you,
Right.
there's a limitation what they can do, right? If people come to me and say that, okay, sir, I'll do this course, will you guarantee me a job, right? The answer is no. And anybody who
Yes.
is lying to you, is actually lying.
Yes.
You can enhance your skills, but that is just part of the job we get,
Right.
isn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. I would like to also point out one thing. As you said that people all ask that we'll get a placement or not. So when I started the executive financial data analytics from IIM Jammu, in the first session, the IIM program directors were basically briefing us. I mean, how the boards would go like. So some students asked that whether we'll be get the placement or not. The first question was that. So they clearly said that there won't be any placement. It's a certificate course on application of AI and machine learning in finance. In fact, I also made a mind that I didn't do this course for placement or something. I just did it for the skill development, because there was a lot of buzz about AI and these kind of technologies, and I just want to learn. I mean, how these things work and how this can shape the finance industry and what I can do with this. After spending, I think, 7 months so far, I can safely say that I learned a lot. In fact, it helped me in not only in the investment management but also in the in my personal life also, when I just analyze the data. As I said, that I analyze the data from Glassdoor for actual sciences. I did it with Python. So I learned Python and R from this course.
Right. That's very interesting. And this is something I advise to every finance professional. kind of complexities you have handled in CA, R and Python are nothing in comparison to that. Right. So,
Yeah.
but I see a lot of CAs shying away from it. And this type of bias I also see in lawyers a lot. So like we have a saying in lawyers, and which is very common, is that हमने law इसलिए करा था, हमें maths पसंद नहीं था, right? So like the moment you give lawyers, and as I'm telling you, I teach lawyers for a living, right? So I have actually created a course on IP valuation as well. So the moment we would put any numbers in front of lawyers, we would just lose the interest in the class. So I know how hard it was for us to create evaluation course for lawyers, and keeping the numbers to the minimal. And as I told you, a lot of CAs also come to our courses, right? So they say, okay sir, ये course करो. मैंने कहा CA को मैं करने नहीं तुम you don't do this evaluation course from me. तुम्हारे पास you have a lot of options, because this course is designed for lawyers. We have kept the numbers to minimum. अगर तुम ये करोगे तो मुझे गाली देने लग जाओगे, right? It's not something I want to do. The idea was that lawyers don't really understand what valuation is, right? So the moment this comes in, like they just go completely blank. So we said, like, that shouldn't be the case. Lawyers should also be able to understand a little bit of finance. So that's
Exactly
was created. Yeah, well said. But you spoke about your executive diploma with IIM Jammu, and that brings me to a very interesting topic. Is that what trends are you seeing, right? Especially when you have gotten training in this particular area, the recent advancements in generative AI. What trends are you seeing? What use case are you seeing where AI can assist finance professionals?
So the changes are, significant. That led me to pursue this course. There are a lot of changes, this AI is bringing to financial domain also, because as we know that generative AI not only works in numbers, but in text also. We call it NLP, models, natural language processing. In fact, I would just like to say that people are, buzzing about ChatGPT, but nobody's caring about, there's one more product of OpenAI, which is called Explore GPT.
Okay.
So if you upgrade a free plan, you can use that product. You can create your own GPT. It is basically fine-tuning the existing model with your data set. So I was just searching about application of AI in IFRS, and I found IFRS GPT. They've already made it.
Yeah.
You can ask any question on IFRS, like IFRS 16, right? And or the IFRS 6, and any standard, they'll give very good answer. I won't say it was perfect and accurate answer, but it's very good. So it gets a lot of data in time on next 5 to 6 years, how much efficient it would be, in consulting about IFRS, that kind of stuff. And not only IFRS, you can just take a income tax at 9061 and you can just use that to train your AI model. Then it can advise the tax also. Right.
Absolutely.
So this kind of thing in taxation and accounting are coming. In finance, the thing is that, we used to use Excel for modeling, right?
Right.
As you said that you don't run that valuation course for CA.
Right.
In fact, I would say that we learn a lot about valuations in CA, but when it comes to practicality, the things that limit CA is understanding the concept in, in a real world. When you do financial modeling, the thing, in CA, we get questions that value this company, you're given the growth rate of sales, expenditure, and the discount rate, and perpetual growth is sustainable, etc. But in real life, you have to assume those things,
Right.
and it takes time to fine tune those assumptions. In fact, AI has solved this kind of problem a little bit. So you can make automated models using AI for valuations also. I'm trying to make it using Python, although I'm not able to successful in that yet. But I think it can be done. So not only using the numbers, but also using the available news in the market, it can price the business rightly. Because of course, the price and value are two different concepts. Value can be calculated, price cannot be calculated. It is derived from the market forces, as the Ashwath Damodaran says. When a layman buy a share, it misconcept that value is equal to the price, right? So if you can calculating a value, if you include the the impact of the news, that would give you exact value what the price should have at a current moment of time. In my investing philosophy, what I used to do, I just basically have two investing philosophy. First is value investing. Second is the momentum investing. For momentum investing, I don't look at the business at all. I don't look at financial anything. I just look at the price and momentum. When the momentum is in, I'm holding the stock. When the momentum ends, I just sell it. I can just tell you, you can just search a share, TRIN. It gave me 90x return. So sorry, 90x,
What was the
not 90x, 90% return. TRIN Limited.
TRI
90% return.
TRI Limited.
TRIN. TRIN. It's a it's a ticker name. So it gave me 90% return in 30 days.
Okay, that's
So you can imagine, so that the power of momentum. I don't know what it does in business, in business, to be honest. So that's the first philosophy. Second is based on the value, right? So for that, just look at the information on the website and the annual report, because as a retail investor, you don't get much information. Just like if you are working with the large investment banks, you have a lot of database and you have nexus within management, you can get information. So you don't get enough information, so you have to rely on what is written in the annual report. So I read the annual report, I analyze the industry trends they have shown in the report, the financials. I just, first I check the, being a chartered accountant, I have an advantage that I understand if there's a red flag or not. So I check if there's a flawed case. I mean, if the books are cooked, the assets are overvalued or fair valued. So this is the first thing. Second thing, I analyze if there's a growth potential or not. Then I calculate value based on my approach. So I would just like to tell you quickly that what approach I follow for valuation. So there's a popular approach called DCF valuation. For public company, I don't follow that. I read a book called Buffettology.
Yeah.
In Buffettology, Warren Buffett explained a quick valuation approach, which is very easy. I mean, I don't know why people don't teach it in courses like COCFA, this kind of valuation. It is very good. I mean, if you're investing in a public company, you have a lot of information. In private company, of course, DCF is good because you don't have anything to compare the value with. But in public company, you have this stock price to compare the value, right? If it is overvalued, undervalued. So you can use Buffettology's, valuation method. It's great. And let me tell you, I bought a stock, Gravita India, with that valuation approach, and it gave me 150% return in 3 years.
Okay, in 3 years. So that's not bad. Right. So we can have a more detailed discussion on Buffettology. Just as a lawyer, I know when to put the disclaimers. Nothing in this podcast is a financial advice. Please do your own research. कल को हमारे कमेंट चाहिए मुझे, राइट? अपनी रिसर्च करो और खुद उसके बाद रिसर्च करने के बाद इन्वेस्टिंग करो. This podcast is just for information. All right. Now it's the time for rapid fire. First question is morning person, night owl.
Currently a night person, but planning to be a morning person soon.
Same, yeah. Second, favorite finance related book.
Well, first is Financial Freedom by Grant Sabatini. Second is Buffettology.
Wow. One financial term you will love to demystify for our listeners.
Well, that's a very simple but effective term, compounding interest. Everyone knows it. Everybody read it in the schools, but they don't understand the power of it.
Right. Absolutely.
So I would like to demystify it.
We'll do a video on that, a separate video. Dream travel destination for unwinding.
There's a village in Netherlands.
Okay.
I think Heathorn, I think its name is Heathorn. I would love to visit that place. I just saw that place in one of the YouTube videos, and I love that. Wow. I would say it's called the Venice of North.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Next question: coffee or chai? Chai.
Yeah.
A hobby that keeps you grounded outside of work.
Painting.
Great choice, yaar. I wish I learned painting when I had the time, but anyway, it's too late for me. So, as we are running out of time, I'll ask just last question from you. You have worn multiple hats so far. You have been a financial analyst. You have worked in management consulting, right? Which role resonates with you the most? And where do you your future in like next 5-6 years?
I resonate myself with financial analyst because I love to analyze businesses, read annual reports, valuing businesses. I'll just love that. You can call me a number crunching guy, but I'm also a storyteller guy now. Yeah, because reading an annual report is just not crunching the numbers. You understand the business also. So I love that. I like to do something like this in future. In fact, I'm planning to have my own consulting firm in investment and management. But yet I've not decided how it would go. But in future, I'll definitely do it because currently I'm managing my family's fund in investing, of course, in equity and both derivatives. Also, I use derivative for hedging the equity positions. So I think me and my friend were discussing that we should open our own firm for retail investors because the stock market penetration in India is very low. People are coming in the markets, but with wrong mindset. I can give you an example. Recently, I think 2 months back, one of my friends just messaged me and said, "Shiv bhai, yaar koi aisa share batao जिसमें 50% रिटर्न एक महीने में मिल जाए. And I just said one thing, that if you are expecting 50% 1 month from one share, then you are risking your capital by 50%. That thing you should keep in mind. ऐसा नहीं है कि मिलेगा नहीं. I mean, as I said, PNL डबल हो गया 30 दिन में, but
Right.
शायद वो गिर भी सकता था.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so I place a stop loss for that, but I don't think anybody would place a stop loss. I mean, very few people know about stop loss, right? How to place it, what are the stop loss limits, stop loss market. So these things people don't know. People don't know about risk management. There's a simple risk management, I think. Just जो हमारे ancestors बोलते हैं या हमारे parents भी बोलते हैं, gold is a good investment. I don't think gold is a good investment. It's a good, I would say, good form of money or good safe asset, I would say. It can protect your portfolio against the market. मार्च में जैसे मार्केट गिरा था, मार्केट वाज डाउन बाय आई थिंक 8%. The portfolio in my gold was up by 7%. So when other people's portfolio was down by 12-30%, my portfolio was just down by 3-4%. So these same simple kind of hedge stuff you can do with the investment.
Very well said. Shiv, so thanks a lot for coming on the podcast, explaining and
Pleasure's mine.
so many things for us. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure was mine.
That wraps up our insightful conversation with Shiv Bhushan Upadhyay. We hope you enjoyed diving into the deep world of financial analytics and investment management as much as we did. Shiv's expertise and perspective have provided us with a clearer understanding of evolving financial landscape. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Let's Discuss Cafe. Until next time, stay curious, stay caffeinated. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to Let's Discuss Cafe for more interesting conversations like this.